self-compassion?
Right. So self-compassion, you know, we're more familiar with compassion for others. We know how that feels. So it's when you feel with someone else in their suffering. The word compassion in the Latin, actually, passion means to suffer, come means with. So there's like an inherent connectedness in compassion. And so self-compassion is just having that same stance toward us. So we become aware that we're struggling as opposed to just like soldiering on. We feel connected in our struggles. This is very important because oftentimes when we make a mistake or something difficult happens, we feel like everyone else in the world is living a perfect life and it's just me who's failed or just me who's having this issue. So again, we're connected in it. We remember that this is part of life, this is part of being human. And then we give ourselves the same type of kindness and support that we would more naturally show to a good friend or someone we cared about. So it's really not rocket science. The only thing is that most people forget to be compassionate to themselves. They know they're supposed to be compassionate to others. And somehow we've gotten it into our heads as a culture that, you know, self-criticism is good, even though the research shows it doesn't help you at all. So it's really just being a good supportive friend to yourself.
Let's talk about some myths, because there are a few myths around self-compassion where people could feel that makes me kind of soft.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the top myths and see if we can debunk a few of them.
Yeah. So, and luckily now there's tons of research debunking all these myths. So a big one is that it makes you soft, it makes you weak. It's actually just the opposite, right? So when things get tough, you want self-compassion by your side. So, you know, it's like when you go into battle, do you want an enemy in your head cutting you down, shaming you, saying you can't do it, you're lame? Or do you want a friend like support, an ally saying, I got your back, I'm here for you? Obviously, when we go into tough situations, we're going to be stronger when we support ourselves. And again, this is backed up by the research. For instance, there's been a lot of research with combat veterans that shows that those combat veterans that come back from, you know, overseas, Iraq or Afghanistan, who are more self-compassionate about what they experienced, they're less likely to develop post-traumatic stress syndrome, they're less likely to commit suicide or try to commit suicide, they're less likely to turn to alcohol as a way to cope with their pain. So they're actually stronger and more resilient. And that's true in a lot of different areas of life, you know, dealing with divorce, dealing with raising a special needs kid, dealing with cancer. So when things are difficult, if you support yourself, if you're there for yourself, if you're kind to yourself, you're going to be stronger and more able to get through.
Oh, I love it. You also talk about one of the myths as self-compassion can seem to be overindulgent.
Yeah.
Like you're so focused on yourself. Can we touch on that one?
Yeah, no, sometimes people think self-compassion means like being nice to yourself, like giving yourself a break. You know, and sometimes what you need is a break, but sometimes what you need is to get off the couch and do something, right? So when you care about yourself and you want your own well-being and you want to help alleviate your own suffering, which is really what compassion is, you know, sometimes it means working hard. So for instance, people who are more self-compassionate, they do things that maybe aren't pleasant, but it's good for their long-term health, like practicing safe sex or going to the doctor or eating right or exercising, right? So it's not, if you just give yourself pleasure, if you're just soft on yourself, you actually aren't being kind to yourself. Like an indulgent parent is not a compassionate parent. A compassionate parent, you know, doesn't scream at their kids, but also make sure that their child is healthy. And the same thing with ourselves. And then this idea that it's selfish, right? So really, if you look at self-criticism or shame, those are really self-focused emotions. When you're hanging your head in shame, you aren't really thinking about other people. You're completely absorbed inward. When you remember that, hey, everyone makes mistakes. You know, life is difficult for everyone. Then it actually allows you to be less self-focused and you've got more resources to give to other people. So again, it's the exact opposite. Self-compassion helps you have better relationships with others. People, for instance, people are more happy with when their romantic partner is self-compassionate. They judge them more positively because when you have a self-compassionate partner, they're meeting some of their own needs. They aren't like totally depending on you, which means that they actually have more resources to give to you. So self-compassion actually helps and give to others.